Hi, welcome to Politics at New College. My name is Sarah and I'm one of our group of teachers at New College Swindon. At New College Swindon, we're all experts in what we do. That's right, we're qualified in what we do, some of us are examiners, and most importantly, we've been teaching politics and have loads of experience for well over 25 years. I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you some of the sorts of things we might have done if we could have been all together in a classroom for a session to introduce you to some of the themes in government and politics. So what do you think politics is all about? Maybe these pictures help you to have a think about that. Andrew Hayward, the textbook author, says that politics is the activity through which people make, uphold and revise, that means change, the general rules under which they live. And certainly at the moment with COVID, that's really interesting. We see big changes, don't we? Who we can meet, who we can't meet, groups of 6, whether or not there's lockdown. So politics is ever changing. In the first year at Government and Politics at New College, you would study 2 key modules: political participation, that includes things such as how the media inform us about politics, fake news, etc. You'd also study about elections and voting behaviour. And in the second part of the course, you'd also study how the UK is governed. In fact, we start with Parliament and democracy. In the second year, we specialise in American politics, and that's really a fascinating study at this current point in time. We also study political ideologies like conservatism, liberalism and socialism, and specialise in feminism. So politics is, well, it's a really lively subject. If you like debating, this could be the course for you, and it links into the Debating Society that we also run as well. It may be that interested in a career in law, you're interested in a career of journalism. And we also have some of our former politics students who've gone on to be members of parliament too. So politics is ever changing. Have a look at the picture that you've got on your screen. We've had Brexit and leaving the EU, which has been more than controversial. We've got the current American election and the results of that as we look forward to 2021 and the new Congress. We've also, of course, in December of 2019, had our own election. And as a result of that, Boris Johnson, the Conservative leader, has a stronger parliamentary majority. We've also got 2 new leaders of the opposition parties, Sir Keir Starmer for the left, for the Labour Party, and Ed Davey to the centre. But is Keir Starmer really to the left? In fact, we've just seen Jeremy Corbyn, the former leader of the Labour Party, being suspended. So it's a fascinating time to study government and politics and look at the ideological, that means the values and beliefs of the different parties. And we've already mentioned COVID. The fact that I'm doing this online is part of the change due to COVID. How well has government coped with the pandemic? Has it made the right choices to go for tiered approaches as opposed to a full lockdown? What do you think? So how do people get engaged in politics? It's about participation. What do you think? Are these the ideas that you came up with? We could vote if we're over the age of 18, and we'll talk about why we don't have compulsory voting in the UK and why you have to be 18, and we'll debate whether that's a good or a bad thing. You might be engaged in pressure groups and activism. You might look to go into politics yourself. So politics is all about power. It's about who has power to make decisions that change our lives. And in the UK, we are part of a democratic system, which means that we come from the Greek term demos kratos, people, power. In the UK, we have a liberal democracy. So come an election, we get to participate by voting, and we get to choose which party to vote for. Of course, we could go for a direct model of voting. This would be where we make decisions all the time. Press the red button on your Sky remote now if you want to bring back hanging. It's not really very practical, is it? So we have an indirect model of participation, which means that we have a representative democracy. We choose and elect others to make decisions on our behalf. And if we don't like what they do, we can recall an individual MP, or of course in an election we can change our vote. So in the UK we have a parliamentary democracy. Here's pictures of our parliament. We have two chambers. This is known as bicameralism. And we focus in our course on the directly elected chamber. That's right, the House of Commons. We look in Parliament at its structure, its roles, how laws are made. We compare the powers of the House of Commons and Lords and look at why the House of Lords is only a revising or a checking chamber. And we look at ways in which Parliament holds the government to account, because Parliament is sovereign. This is a page taken from a typical text that we use. In fact, we write our own at New College so we can get you well prepared for the exam. So we've worked out that in the House of Commons we have members of Parliament. In our last election, all 650 were elected, and they represent geographical areas like Wiltshire, Swindon. And each geographical area is called a constituency. If you have a look here in between Boris Johnson, you can see on the left of your screen, you've got Robert Buckland, the MP for, do you know, South Swindon, where the college is situated, and he's the current Justice Secretary in the Cabinet. And to the north of Swindon, perhaps your MP, Justin Tomlinson. And a parliament is formed by a government, is formed by having the most seats in Parliament after an election. So this is called fusion of powers. I hope some of these ideas have interested you enough to find out a little bit more about taking the course at New College. Today we've worked out that we have a democratic and a parliamentary system of government, but it does have some flaws. We know it's bicameral, a House of Commons and a House of Lords, but one isn't elected, and the other one seems to be dominated by the executive, the government. Is that fair? And that our MPs represent a constituency. How well does that work? Do you feel you're represented? These are some of the debates and some of the questions we talk about in politics. Good luck with your GCSEs. We look forward to welcoming you at college.